So who the hell are you?
Who am I?
Yeah.
I'm Rob Lalonde. I'm the founder and creator of Butt Ends Hockey Grips.
And that's a pretty famous brand. How'd you come up with that idea?
I was a player that growing up, I was always a gear hound as a kid, and then as I got older, I started playing junior hockey, college hockey. Equipment was really important to me. Having the best things were really important for my craft, and I just found that using tape on the end of my hockey stick, as the hockey sticks were evolving and getting better and better and better, the tape was staying the same, and I had a lot of problems with it. When I was in college, my hands would get wet, my tape would get slimy, it would slip, and I thought there had to be a better way. That part of the stick was going to improve, just like the hockey stick was improving. And then I thought to myself, like, I want to create something that I would love to use. And then I thought it'd be a great idea for everybody. I was like, if I can build something that I would like, I think I can sell it to other people and get other players on board as well. And it's kind of how the idea came to be.
So kids want to get it. They need to get it if you want to be like guys in the NHL. Who are some of the guys in the NHL that use the knobs?
Oh, it's been really cool to get to work with some of the guys in the NHL. We started off, the first player ever to use it was Brandon Prust. He was a friend of mine, and he started using it in Montreal. And from there, it's grown to a couple dozen players now. We got guys like superstar players like Ryan Getzlaff, Max Domi, Jeff Petrie. Guys at the top of their game. A lot of goaltenders are using the product as well. Both San Jose Sharks goalies, Martin Jones, Aaron Dell. Tristan Jarry started using them down in the American League, and then now he's up with the Penguins. He made the All-Star team this year. Alex Pietrangelo just switched this season after winning the Stanley Cup, and then in his contract year, looking for an edge, looking for an advantage, switches to butt end, so he's using it. So go Blues!
Awesome, and it's great to hear that goaltenders are using them. And I think they're a huge asset for goaltenders because how long they last, how easily they are to apply, and they're a great thing. So if somebody wants to get it, how can they get it?
Buttends.com.
All right, who are you?
Jason VanSpronsen.
And how did you get into coaching?
I got into coaching one summer when I attended Future Pro, and Steve does what we do even this year at the camps. We find kids that are in our advanced and elite programs that we think are great kids and have some good skill, and we invite them to come and try out working with us for a week, and we see how they do. And from there, I just started working more and more every year, and eventually just started doing goalie coaching as my full-time job.
So tell me about your hockey career and your pathway from starting off minor hockey, how you got started, and where your hockey career wound up.
So I basically just played minor hockey growing up in London, and from there ended up playing junior hockey in the area. I played part of seasons for Strathroy and St. Thomas, and ended up playing in Park Hill Junior C and Lambeth Junior C to finish it off. And then I was attending university and going to teachers college, and during that time I got to know Clark Singer a little bit, and through knowing Clark Singer I was able to practice with the Western Mustangs every once in a while, and that was about it. I finished off playing junior C and started coaching from there.
What got you started into being a goalie at the first place? What got you into being a goaltender?
The equipment. It was all about the equipment for sure. I was an okay player, nothing special, but I held my own. But when my dad became the equipment manager for Red Circle Minor Hockey, I got access to all the equipment. I got to see everything that was there. I got to go with them to buy all the equipment. And Red Circle was a great minor hockey association because back then they used to supply full goalie equipment for anybody that wanted to play net. So it was never a financial thing. If you wanted to play net at Red Circle, you could always afford to play because they supplied all the goalie equipment for you. So for me, that was great. I got to see all the equipment and I got to try it out. And from there, I just fell in love with the equipment and I fell in love with playing net.
So are there any goaltenders in the NHL as a kid that you modeled yourself after?
Growing up, it was Felix Potvin. He was a huge fan favorite for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and he had some of the coolest gear in the NHL. He had those pads with the cat eyes on it, with the cat whiskers. He had a sweet helmet, so all that stuff drew me towards him. Style. I wasn't too into style back then as to what style to play. Everybody sort of played very similarly. Butterfly was just becoming a thing. And then when I was playing junior, I started to model my game a little more after Carey Price because he was coming up at that point when I was just finishing junior, and I tried to model my game after some of the best goalies that were in the world.
So currently in the NHL, who would you consider some of the best technical goaltenders that would be wise for young kids to study some of the things they do?
A lot of the goalies in the NHL are great. and I never like to pick one for anybody to look at. I try and find somebody that's similar to what that goalie already likes to play. So if you have a somewhat shorter goalie, someone that plays a little more acrobatic, athletic, maybe UC Saros would be a great guy to watch. He's playing unreal right now for the Nashville Predators, and he'd be a great guy to keep an eye on if you're somebody in that. If you're a taller goalie, somebody like Carey Price, somebody like Andre Vasilevsky would be unreal to follow. They're both extremely technical goalies, and they both have great numbers currently in the NHL and have done great things. So they'd be great guys to model your game after. So it always depends on sort of what style of play you already play or some of the physical attributes that you have, but try and find somebody that's similar to you and model yourself after them, and that's going to help you most.
So what is your philosophy of coaching goalies?
My philosophy would be to not try and change anybody, but try and work with the skills and the attributes that they have to make them the best goalie they could possibly be. If somebody likes to be a more acrobatic goalie and dive and flop around a little bit more, that's fine. But I want to make sure that we harness that in and make sure that it's only when those things are necessary. And on the opposite end of the spectrum, if somebody's extremely technical goalie and not very good at the flopping and diving, harness those attributes as well, but sort of teach them the other parts as well. So I never try and completely change somebody. Everybody's going to have their own style. Everybody's going to have their own way to play, and I don't believe in the cookie cutter goaltender that everybody should be playing the exact same method. I think that everybody can learn a little bit and use a little bit of those different aspects of the game, and using what they already are good at and introducing some of the other aspects is the best way to go.
How do you feel about new things coming into the game like the RVH and then the initial period where people maybe not understand it, but just copy what people are doing without really watching?
I think there's a huge learning curve to all those new techniques that end up into the game, and you can't be an extreme and just use whatever's new all the time and hope that it's going to work. You have to make sure that you're adding it in slowly and finding the right applications for it. And people would say the same thing about the butterfly technique. It was an extreme technique when it first came into the game, and certain goalies would only use it. J.S. Giguère comes to mind. He ended up using it to win a Stanley Cup, but he was just a straight butterfly goalie and did nothing else. And the equipment back then helped with that as well, but he took that to an extreme as well. Now you don't see anybody doing just a straight butterfly block butterfly every single time they go down. They have variations to it. There's a half butterfly, there's sliding butterflies, there's different aspects to everything that they do, whereas the RVH is a perfect example of that too, is that now goalies are becoming smarter with it, and they're starting to use it less and less, and you're seeing less of those bad goals go in as a result of it because they're learning how it goes. So my advice to any new technique is find out how it's going to best help you in your game, but don't completely adapt your game to use that as a very big technique in everything that you use.
Well, assuming we get back up and run playoffs or tournaments or whatever, if you had to pick a Stanley Cup winner from this season right now, who would you pick?
It's a tough call. From how things were going at the end of last season, it's probably the Boston Bruins, even though I hate to say it. They just have such a strong team. They're currently leading the league in many different categories, and they're the first team to 100 points this year, so they're clearly dominant this year, and they have a good, solid goaltender back there that's been through it for many, many years, so they're going to be a tough team to beat.
You've had great success with some of your students moving on to be drafted to the OHL, play pro hockey. Can you talk to us about some of the students you're most proud of and how they've developed in hockey?
Yeah, that's a tough question. I wouldn't say I'm most proud of any one student. There's lots of them that I'm very proud of things that they've accomplished. One that comes to mind right now is Jake Thute, who plays in Alabama Huntsville. He got his first ECHL win this year, so his first pro win, which was awesome. But he had a rough go. He had a tough time getting through there. He didn't get drafted. He just worked his way up through junior B, USHL and AHL, and found his way onto a college team at Northeastern. And from there, he's continued to grow and continued to get better year after year. Carson Poulin's another great example. Another guy that didn't get drafted, played junior B for a few years, bounced around a little bit, and now he's playing college hockey at Lake Forest. Lots of other guys that I've worked with for the past couple of years, such as Max Beckford, Owen Say, Josh Curtin, who are all playing junior hockey or going to be playing junior hockey now, and a couple of great kids that are in the OHL draft class for this year, including Cole Sheffield, Marcus Vandenberg, and Elijah Grant, who all have bright careers ahead of them as well.
Outstanding. So If somebody wants to take advantage of your coaching, either privately or clinic or summer camps, where's the best way to reach out to you?
You can find my contact information at www.futurepro.com on the Canada section and the About Us section on our website.
Now we'll finish with one last question. Obviously, I call myself the GOAT. Is it because I truly believe I'm the greatest of all time, or I'm just an old GOAT?
Says it's the old GOAT, but it's up for deliberation.